Left on red.
Got it instead.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Mustafa and I'm one of your hosts.
My name's Ishan Zedi and I'm your second host.
And we're here with a very special guest, Raza Ali.
Assalamu alaikum everybody.
And I'm here with a very special guest who needs no introduction, Sayyid Ammar.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Alaikum
What's
salam.
up?
Salam.
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good?
Yep.
Of course.
Who's got the nicer hoodie, me or you?
They're both good.
They're both
good.
diplomatic. Nice diplomatic answer.
Of
Future
course,
politician
yeah.
we have here. Go
Anyways,
ahead, guys. What are we discussing today?
So today, it's more not like a podcast, more like a debate between, let me just say the title. Today's topic is the fast without prayer, a growing trend among youths. And yes, let me state the argument real quick. It seems like a lot of young people are fasting but skipping their prayers these days. This trend may show that there's a gap in understanding the full spiritual significance of fasting. Fasting is important, but when you pair it with prayer, it really deepens the connection to faith. Maybe this is a sign that we need to focus more on educating our youth about the complete practice of Islam. Ishan, do you have anything to add about that?
I feel like you said the complete part of Islam, and fasting and keeping your roza are like two different aspects of Islam, and they're two different pillars. I feel like they should be weighted equally instead of like one doesn't count if the other doesn't happen. Like, let's say I wake up in the morning, I do my sehri,
Mhm.
I fall asleep.
Mhm.
Okay, then my fast isn't wajib because I didn't pray, but they're both two different pillars. So
There's a difference between accidentally missing your prayer and intentionally missing your prayer. Like, let's say you wake up in the morning and you're awake like during Fajr time, and you just skip it on purpose. Obviously, that's gonna impact something, and a lot of people do say that like it's invalid. You stayed hungry for no reason, so that's why I personally think that it invalidates your fast.
yeah, but at the same time, they're two different pillars of Islam. Like,
Yes,
shouldn't
but-
they be weighted equally?
Well, prayer is more like a important thing, but
It's a fundamental, right? Because Ramadan comes once a year, yes, but you're praying the five wajib prayers 5 times a day all year long. If you're neglecting that, then I think we should focus on that first before we focus on going towards fasting. In fact, if we're neglecting fasting, don't bother fasting first. Let's first improve on something which we have to do every day, and then you can get on to fasting. Like the point you mentioned, okay, I got up for suhoor, but I didn't do my fast prayer. By the time you finished your suhoor, you're very well awake. You're conscious enough at that point that you could read your namaz, and you should. It's required because you're at Fajr time. You're terminating your suhoor at Fajr time, meaning why would you go to bed instead of doing wudu?
So what you're saying is like one of the pillars isn't as important as the other.
No, I'm saying about niyat, right? At that point, your niyat counts. You're doing fast for the sake of not just staying hungry. You can stay hungry at any point. In fact, like you're just if you're people are doing intermittent fasting these days. Our religion's fast is different from other fasts. We are doing both. We're staying up from like hungry for and thirsty. More than hungry, it's thirst, right? From daylight to start to sunset. There's more to it. It's not just staying hungry. We're trying to build our character. We're building ourselves. Salah is probably bigger than that because your God consciousness getting closer to your faith. And what more is there than reading your 5 wajib prayers?
I feel the fact that there's even a discussion on this shows that spiritually someone's alive. Because if you're not spiritually alive, then you wouldn't debate whether you should be praying while fasting. The fact that you're reflecting on that is a good sign. Because now this is what the aim of the holy month of Ramadan was, for you to begin to reflect on how close you are to God, which acts you are doing, which ones you could improve on. That Ramadan spirit, which makes you start reflecting on the meaning of worship. Why do I do this? What can I improve when this month finishes? So even the conscience being alive is a very positive sign. We do have to be careful, I think, that we don't fall into the trap of I think and I think. Because there's a lot of, well, I feel if you pray and you fast, you're perfect. Or someone else says, no, if you fast but you don't pray, then that's not valid. These are when a person begins to fall in the trap of giving their own opinions on issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's why hopefully I'm here to try and maybe be a sounding board for you guys in relation to those people who maybe fast in the holy month of Ramadan but don't pray. The first thing is that at least there's some level of submission. At least there is, an aim to try and do something, but they're still counted as a sinner while fasting and not praying. And I think every Muslim has to be aware of that, because you can also fall into that trap of, I'm fasting because if I don't, mom and dad will be angry. Or I'm fasting because, you know what? Iftar sounds good at the end of the day, actually. I love the social aspect of things. So no longer the intention of fasting becomes a submission to God or an act where one reflects upon their spirituality, but rather sometimes it can also fall into an area of just peer pressure. That if I'm the odd one out who's eating, I'm, going to be made fun of, or people are going to be like, this guy's not religious. So I think we have to reassess the whole philosophy of why we do what we do anyway in an act of worship. And that's ultimately the aim of this discussion.
Yeah, I feel like that matters, but at the same time, there are two different pillars. And let's say, for example, as a job, let's say I'm given two tasks, and I perfect one perfectly, and one I don't do like as well.
Which one do you enjoy out of fasting and prayer?
I feel like they both have a significance, importance, but like
No. Tell me what you enjoy. Don't tell me cliche lines that both are important, significant. What do you enjoy about? Which one do you enjoy more, fasting or prayer?
Fasting.
Nice. The fact that you've said fasting and not prayer could also be a sign why some people don't pray. Because fasting is that thing that comes once a year.
Yeah.
It's like 30 nights, I'll get this done. Prayer every day, every single day. But what we got to look for is that flavor in prayer.
Yeah.
What's that thing that's going to make me attracted to praying the way I'm attracted to fasting?
Yeah.
And I'll give you guys one hint, which sometimes we're missing in our lives. Fasting is very social. You're all around the dinner table. Your cousins, your friends, your mates, they're all doing iftar. Prayer, if you done it in jama'ah more often in the mosque, there'd be more of a collective feel. That's why we have Salat al-Jum'ah. Because you all come together on Jum'ah. Wherever you're working, you come to that mosque, you see each other, and then afterwards you go somewhere. And that's why Jama'ah is important, because of the social aspect. And sometimes when you're just praying alone, there's not that same buzz that exists. I don't know what you guys think.
Like,
do you have that buzz or?
So do you think it would be like more different for like introverts and extroverts? Because introverts, you can pray at home a lot.
Not really. No. You could. I'm an extrovert, so I'm public speaker and give majalis and so on. But I could do home alone very easily. This boxing our personalities is too much a generalization. The most extroverted person can sometimes be the most insecure person.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Really, it's hiding an insecurity inside them that they're not proud of and they don't know how to cover it. So never box yourself. You find your path to God. God, what he does throughout the year, he gives you feasts to eat from. And so one of those feasts is called Muharram, and another one's called Shahr Ramadan, another one's called Hajj, another one's called Majalis in the mosque. And you got to find the feasts and enjoy those feasts rather than look at them as tick box exercises. Okay, I've ticked another one. I'm on plus 71,000 thawab now. Like how people account on. What do you think? Let me ask you, Mustafa, when it comes to, don't look at your phone, when it comes to Laylatul Qadr, for example, you got all these a'mals and du'as.
Yeah.
How do you feel that night in Laylatul Qadr?
Well, on Laylatul Qadr, I felt actually like very happy.
Nice.
Because it's something like I get to connect with Allah. I get to like ask for forgiveness. I get to ask for this, for that. It's actually a very good night. And I know some people say, oh, like the 27th is the most the most legitimate date for like
23rd is the most.
Yeah. There's 3 days that are like the most legitimate. And I feel those 3 days you should connect with Allah the most. And that's why prayer is important also. Because you're connecting with Allah. It's salah, which means, I think it means connecting with Allah. I forgot, but like from my
Lovely,
knowledge.
nice, well done.
And that's why.
And you, on the night of Qadr, was there any dua that touches you in particular?
For me, it was forgot the name actually because on the spot. But the last one, which we had done it communally.
Anyone remember the name? Which one?
Not
Which
if
dua do we all read together at the mosque on Laylatul Qadr?
on the 23rd night we had recited
Yeah.
it, and
Most probably, I don't know. Culturally, it would be what dua al-Jawshan.
Joshan Kabir.
Kabir,
Yeah, and that was I enjoyed it a lot because I've we did it. I actually participated in reciting it myself, and I participated in all 3 nights of Laylatul Qadr, and it was good because I was with my other friends who were all Muslim youth around the same age, so it was a sense of community. We were doing prayer together, and that dua, once you read through the translation as well as just participating in it, it touches your heart more.
Lovely,
And
lovely.
it
So now you see the difference.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, instead of us just being like, Salah's important, fasting's important, it's all pillars of prayers, now all of a sudden it's like, hold on a minute, now there's a bit more reflection as to why I do what I do, or why I don't do what I don't do, and that's what we're trying to look for here, when it comes to fasting. What do you think, Ishan?
I think like dua and like everything trying to find its way together, but like every person in Islam has a different pathway.
Nice.
And following a strict one, which you think is the right pathway, might not be the same for like
Sure.
like the right one for you.
Lovely point. And so what things like in terms of Shahr Ramadan in particular give you a buzz?
Really the entire concept of it.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Sure.
Like, just like the whole thing together.
What, like the social aspect?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm more of an
Nice.
extroverted person, so yeah, the social aspect is really important. to me.
Nice. And your extrovertness is positive, but don't let it be your identity.
Yeah.
Because then, even when you want to be introverted on some things, people are like, no, Ishan, you're always extrovert. So why are you being? No, say, listen, there's time to be extrovert. There's a time to be introvert.
Try and find like a balance.
Find the
between them.
balance.
Yeah.
Find the balance. There are moments where Imam Ali alayhi salam on the battlefield is like
Yeah.
the bravest warrior.
Yeah.
And then there's other moments where he sits and reads dua alone at home. If you find your balance in this month and your character in this month and your personality in this month,
Yeah.
which things can I be a bit more, how do I develop my character, my morals, my personality, and inshallah, you guys are still young and you're going to find yourself with many more Shahr Ramadans. That's the blessing of Shahr Ramadan. What do you think, Raza?
Well, absolutely. I feel personally I've grown more in the last few years, especially because our coming from a bigger community from where I came from, I couldn't connect as much. But here in Ottawa, it's a smaller community,
Nice.
more opportunity for more people. So I was able to connect more, participate more, and find more friends that I can. If I'm slacking somewhere, it's showing me somewhere I can be inspiring more to okay, how I can improve my faith.
Which dua do you recite in your salahs? In the qunut, in the second rak'ah.
I
And
do.
qunut, is not wajib.
Yeah.
It's mustahab. So, for example, what dua do you do in your qunut?
I split between the standard Rabbana Atina, but
Well
also I like to include Rabbi Hamama Kama Rabbiani Sagira.
Lovely. And yourself?
Well, I also do between those two
Okay.
because it's short and it just
Just gets it over and done with quickly. Of
course.
Yeah. Yourself, Ishan?
Yeah, they took all my reasons.
You see, part of the development of love and salah is twofold. One is understanding the Arabic of what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's no point talking Chinese to God.
exactly
You know what I mean?
if you don't know what you're saying,
Yeah, so
what's
what do
the point
you,
of
in
saying
your
that?
dua, Rabbana Atina, what does it mean in English?
I actually don't know.
Well, at least we found ourselves.
Yep.
course.
Because imagine I'm going to God like, Allahu Akbar. And then it'll be like, why did you just say things to me that you don't even understand? This is your chance for 5 minutes.
Maybe he can translate it back to us.
Maybe he could. Maybe he's got some the great godly chat GPT and it just does it on the spot. But I think what we want to look to achieve and you make this your Shahr Ramadan resolution.
Yeah.
What's your Shahr Ramadan resolution in relation to what we just said? It is that I'm going to learn the meaning of the du'as that I do in Salah.
Inshallah.
So the next time I see you, I'm going to ask you.
Yep.
Of course.
It's so
Inshallah.
easy. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة. Dunya, you know what it means.
Yeah.
وفي الآخرة آخرة, you know what it means.
Mhm.
وقنا عذاب النار. Nar, you know what it
Nar,
means.
yeah.
I think you've got the gist of majority of what you're saying. So if I
Yeah.
were to ask you now on the spot, what would you say is the translation of that dua?
So Rabb would be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and
Yeah. آتنا في الدنيا حسنة.
it's to guide us towards, I guess, building us for dunya here in this world.
Or more towards, give us a
Safety.
reward in this
Yeah,
world.
reward in this
True, Ishan?
Yes.
Yeah, like more heading
in
towards
this
the
world
reward.
and the akhirat, as well as keep us away from hellfire.
Well done. Very simple. Very simple. That's one way of a person doing salah and getting closer to God. It becomes more interesting when I'm actually like, you know what, I know what I'm saying to God.
Yeah.
And another way to switch up and learn more du'as. You stick to two your whole life. Do you know what it becomes? I'm so used to saying this. I don't even care what I'm saying anymore because I'm so used to saying this for the last 20 years.
It's just a memorization.
Well done. It's a memorization. That's why some people stop praying because there's no buzz. There's no click.
Yeah,
Some people stopped.
I changed my duas, based off of maybe like what's going on in my mind
Yes.
at that time. So for Qunut specifically, I might, for school and stuff, I might add like Rabbi Zidni Ilman, like just
Well done.
for focus.
Which means to the viewers, Rabbi zidni ilma.
I don't know the exact Bible.
Ilm, what's ilm?
It's knowledge.
Yeah, so Rabbi is my Lord. Ilm is knowledge. What could be the middle? You
Give
my.
me.
Huh?
Give me.
No. Rab is Lord. The last word is knowledge. What do you want from God in relation to knowledge?
Understanding?
Yeah,
No.
increase my knowledge.
Increase my knowledge, yes.
Yeah. Increase my knowledge. But you've done something wonderful there. You've picked another dua.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your salahs become, rather than the same boring words that you say your whole life, now it becomes different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done. Really
Yeah.
good reflections, man.
Yeah, that was a really good topic. I feel like we should wrap up. Momo, would you like to give the conclusion?
Okay, but this debate, has it even been settled? Like, what's the conclusion? Like, I want
Some debates don't need to be settled.
Yeah.
Let them continue to flow, and inshallah, we pray for
Because it's
people
really
to pray
up
and
to the
fast.
viewers to think
Exactly.
to themselves.
There's
do they think
very
it's-
separate opinions on this
Yeah.
topic. So
Yeah.
let the viewers discuss and figure it out.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So I'm one of your hosts, Mustafa,
I'm your host, Ishan.
and we have our guest, Raza Ali.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And our esteemed scholar, Sayyid Ammar.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We're wrapping up. Left on red.
Got it instead.